Hey fam, how's it going? Speed Duel Bro here, and in today's video we have Zaloog and the Dark Scorpions. Let's go. For the skill card we have No One Suspects the Dark Scorpion Game. Woo! The name of these skill cards, fam, they just keep getting longer and longer, just like anime titles. But anyways, for the monster lineup we've got 3 Zaloog, then we have 2 Chick the Yellow, then we have 2 Cliff the Trap Remover, 1 Mene the Thorn, and 1 Gorg the Strong. And for the spell lineup we have 1 Reinforcement of the Army, 2 Book of Moon, and 3 Galaxy Cyclone. And then for the trap lineup we have 2 Spike Shield with Chain and 3 Battle Guard Rage. And then for the extra deck we have any 6 fusion monsters here of your choosing. And you're probably thinking, but Speed Duel Bro, the skill card doesn't allow us to play these kinds of monsters. Well, hold your horses fam, I'll get to it. But for now, just sit tight, sit back and relax, okay? You're gonna enjoy this one. And so for the side deck we have 1 Hidden Parasite, and then 2 Eradicating Aerosol, 1 Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Widespread Ruin, and 1 Waking the Dragon. And again fam, just sit tight because there's really a certain play style to this deck if you want to achieve the most success with it. How to win / strategies. Now before we go over the game plan fam, we need to review just this one card here, which is the skill card. And no, we're not going to go over each of the Dark Scorpion's effects. All you really need to know is that they get their effects off through battle damage, okay? But anyways, let's get back to the skill card. So if you turn it around, you'll see that it says at the start of the duel, flip this card over. So let's flip it over. It reads, once per duel during your main phase, if you control Zaloog, you can discard 1 card to special summon 2 Dark Scorpion monsters with different names from your hand and deck, 1 from each. Zaloog and Dark Scorpion monsters you control can attack directly, but when they do so using this skill, the battle damage inflicted to your opponent becomes 400. You cannot summon or set any monsters except Zaloog and or Dark Scorpion monsters. So as you can see fam, the offensive potential of this deck is real. So let's go over the strategy. Alright fam, so remember how I said to kind of sit tight and pay attention because there's a certain playstyle to this deck? Well, here it is. So for game 1, I want you to play like thieves. And what are thieves? They're sneaky and they're clever. So if I'm the opponent and I see that my opponent is playing this skill card, and I see that this is all that they have on the field right now, I'm probably gonna think that this is one of the weaker Dark Scorpions, and the face down is Wall of Disruption. And by the way, don't mind this little lineup of the Dark Scorpions, that's just there for display for now, okay fam? So continuing on, if I see this field as the opponent, I'm not going to think too much of it just yet. So I'm probably going to summon a strong attack monster and just attack regardless, because as the meta goes, and even in the TCG days, as the meta grows and grows, the attack base of monsters like level 4 and such just get naturally stronger. Or special summoning monsters with higher attack is getting easier and easier. Vampires, for example. So let's say our opponent was able to bring out their Vampire Lord via Vampire's Awakening or Curse. But the point is, they have a 2000 beater now, and they're feeling pretty confident. So they declare an attack on our monster. So they're probably thinking that even if this card were to be Wall of Disruption, they'll be just fine. Because again, Vampire Lord has a natural strong base attack. So that's where we get them fam. So they attack into our Chick the Yellow, but little do they know that our face down is actually Spike Shield with Chain. And so when you do the math and the calculations, our opponent's Vampire Lord just ran into Chick the Yellow with a 2500 defense. So not only were we able to stand off the opponent's attack, now we can also get the Dark Scorpion's effect off. And that's where we begin to win game 1 fam. That's where we begin to build momentum, because the wonderful thing about the Dark Scorpions is that even if the opponent has nothing on their side of the field or nothing in their hand, or if we don't want to do anything with their side of the field, all of the Dark Scorpions have that secondary effect where we can do something with the opponent's deck. So meaning we are always going to get some sort of value as long as we can get some battle damage in. So let's reset the field here. So let's say for our turn 1, we decided to summon Zaloog in attack mode, and now we decide to put a face down card, and the opponent again brings out their Vampire Lord. But the opponent decides not to attack because if I'm the opponent and I see this kind of setup, I'm more likely to think that this is gonna be Wall of Disruption. So they pass their turn to us. Now little do they know that our face down card is something that brings the offensive pressure onto them. So meaning we're bringing the fight to them through Battle Guard Rage. And for those of you that don't know what Battle Guard Rage does, basically it gives the warrior type monsters 1000 boost attack, and instead of the opponent's monsters going to the graveyard, they return to the hand. Now that second part of Battle Guard Rage, it's kind of more minor. The more important thing here is that we get the 1000 attack boost. So what this means for us, fam, is that we don't have to wait on the opponent to do anything for us, which is, the traditional Wall of Disruption, waiting on the opponent to attack. Instead, we can really bring the fight to them. Thus, we are bringing a good amount of offensive pressure on the opponent. So now Zaloog is at 2400 attack, and goodbye Vampire Lord. And or if we wanted, fam, let's reset that part real quick. If we wanted, that's where we can activate the skill card No One Suspects the Dark Scorpion Gang. And that's where we can decide to bring out 2 more Dark Scorpions at the cost of discarding 1 card, and as long as we control Zaloog. So as you can see, fam, the threat of this offensive pressure of the Dark Scorpions is very real. So let's say we won game 1. Now we're going into game 2. So for game 2, I want you to pay close attention because I want you to do a lot for game 2. Okay, fam? So for the side deck part, we are going to swap out the Spike Shield with Chains because we have lost the element of surprise now. So we're going to replace Spike Shield with Chain with any of the side deck cards here that I've mentioned earlier. And also, I want you to swap out the skill card for the Hidden Parasite skill card. And the reason for that, fam, is because now not only will we be able to put more offensive pressure on the opponent by being able to clear their side of the field more, but the opponent is going to realize that we are going to be heavily dependent on our back row cards, such as Battle Guard Rage. Or in their mind, they're probably thinking we kept the Spike Shield with Chain. So yeah, at this point, fam, it's really going to be up to you what you're going to side in depending on the matchup. But I would highly recommend that you swap out the Spike Shield with Chain and the skill card for game 2. And if you can, put in Waking the Dragon. That way, we'll have access to these extra deck fusion monsters. Because remember, the opponent is going to realize we are heavily dependent on our back row. So why not punish them for that thought? But yeah, fam, this is how I, Speed Duel Bro, would play this deck. I would try to be as crafty and clever while bringing the offensive pressure at the same time. Card analysis. The skill card No One Suspects the Dark Scorpion Gang. Now, you may or may not know, I have this little segment on my channel called Decks from the Lab. And I made this silly Dark Scorpion deck where it was more so focused on the story and lore of the Dark Scorpions, but at the time of me making that deck, the Dark Scorpion Gang wasn't all here. So the fact that Konami made this skill card and gave us the rest of the Dark Scorpion Gang, it's like a wish came true, fam. So shoutouts to you, Konami. I'm very happy. Thank you. But yeah, so what this skill card does is it really applies the offensive pressure on the opponent just for having Zaloog. So it's a straightforward strategy, but the way we're going to play this deck, we're not going to be so straightforward with our intentions. We're going to be very crafty and we're going to be very clever to the opponent. But yeah, I really love this skill card for the Dark Scorpions. And then we played the 3 Zaloog. Now this is very self-explanatory, fam. Zaloog is the main card of this deck, the ace of the deck. Everything runs through him. If we don't have Zaloog, we're going to be in for a rough time. You might as well say that Zaloog is the key to igniting the engine, the offensive engine of this deck. And then we played 2 Chick the Yellow, 2 Cliff the Trap Remover, and 1 Mene and 1 Gord the Strong. Now I feel like this ratio is just enough, and Honestly, if you really wanted to be more serious with this deck, you could probably take out Mene the Thorn, but you know me, as long as there's a theme to the deck, I try to stay true to the theme as much as possible. And who knows, maybe Mene's defense of 1800 with Spike Shield with Chain will do us some good. But anyways, as you all know, each Dark Scorpion member has their individual effects, so take the time to read all of their effects so that you'll be able to utilize which effect is good for the current situation. And then we play one reinforcement of the army. This is self-explanatory as well, fam. The sooner we see Don Zaloog, the better. And then we play the 2 Book of Moon. Now this is all just personal tech choice at this point, fam. I just felt like Book of Moon is very active, a very live card, so why not be able to just shut down the opponent's monster right then and there, and we can also dodge the opponent's back row. As I used to say, and I guess I'm bringing this saying back, Book of Moon is universal utility at its finest. And that's the thing too, fam. The thing with Book of Moon is that when we shut down the opponent's monster right then and there, this deck doesn't necessarily care about the opponent's field, because again, with the skill card, we can bypass all that and then really start to rob the opponent of their field and or their hand and shoot, maybe even their deck. And then we play the 3 Galaxy Cyclone. Now this is just to help with back row removal, because honestly, back row is the only thing that's gonna stand in our way, fam. So 3 Galaxy Cyclone. I honestly really like this new form of back row removal because we get so much utility with Galaxy Cyclone, as I'm sure all of you already know that. And then we play the 2 Spike Shield with Chain. This is just good for that element of surprise in game 1. And also remember, when the opponent sees that we're playing some face downs, they're more than likely going to think it's going to be Wall of Disruption. So at least with Spike Shield with Chain, even if they decide to summon a 2000 attack beater, we should be able to stand up against it. Surprise! And then we play the 3 Battle Guard Rage. Now this is one of my more favorite personal tech choices for this deck because, again, thanks to Battle Guard Rage, we are able to bring the fight to the opponent instead of waiting on the opponent to attack us. And plus, fam, we are always going to be facing very smart opponents, so they're probably not going to attack if we set down a face down because, again, they're gonna think it's Wall of Disruption. So with Battle Guard Rage, we don't have to wait on anybody. We're bringing the fight to them and see if they can handle it. And then onto the side deck, we have the 1 Hidden Parasite, just so we can swap out the skill card, and we'll be able to have access to the extra deck fusion monsters here. Because remember, with this skill card, we can only play the Dark Scorpions and Don Zaloog. And then we have the 2 Eradicating Aerosol, simply because Hidden Parasite can be activated twice, so why not have 2 board wipes in your side deck, yeah? And then the 1 Cosmic Cyclone. This is just so if the opponent's playing way too many back row, hey, why not have 4 altogether, right? 4 forms of back row removal. And then we play the 1 Waking the Dragon. Now personally, I only want 1, fam, because I really don't like waiting on the opponent to do something in order for me to get going. So that's why I play 1, but you can play 2 if you want. And then we play the 1 Widespread Ruin. I just like to have that little form of protection. Never hurts, right? And now, fam, it's time for the moment of truth. Where does this deck rank on the power scale? In my humble opinion, this deck is semi-competitive. Now, the reason why I say this deck is semi-competitive, fam, is because the offensive pressure of this deck is real. Like the threat of it being able to go off at any time for having Don Zaloog, that can be very scary for the opponent, because the moment we can get our effects off, we have really robbed the opponent of the duel. But at the same time, we are restricted to just being able to play the Dark Scorpion monsters, which I guess I understand is fair. Put some balance to the deck, because just imagine being able to play this with alongside with DD Warrior Lady or something else. So I can see why they did that, but that's the very reason why that could be holding this deck back. And not only that, if we don't have Don Zaloog right away, we might be in for a rough time because the Dark Scorpions, they're not exactly known to be the strongest monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! They have powerful effects, don't get me wrong, but their base stats, they're a little weak. Let's just keep it real. But with a crafty strategy and clever tactics and a capable side deck, I really do believe that you can go far with this deck. So give it a try and you just might be surprised that no one suspects the Dark Scorpions. So there you go, fam. That's the deck. I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please feel free to hit the like button because it helps me out a lot. And if you haven't already subscribed to me, your Speed Duel bro, you're more than welcome to subscribe because two things. One, I always play to win and I'll teach you how to win. And no matter what the power level of the deck is, be it casual, semi-competitive, or competitive, we're gonna do our best to win this thing. And two, if you love speed duels, I'm sure you'll love me too, your Speed Duel bro. Alright fam, that's it for now. Thank you for watching and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace